To help us unpack this, we're joined virtually by Dina Lilian. She's a speech therapist who worked for 15 years at Wits University's Donald Gordon Centre, and she now, of course, runs her own private practice, but is also involved in a number of local and international organisations focused on stuttering. Dina, thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, International Stuttering Awareness Day, the theme this year is being seen, being heard, representation and normalization of stuttering in the mainstream. And that's at the core of the conversation I want to have with you about the normalization of stuttering and bringing those who stutter into the mainstream, away from the feelings of awkwardness and social ineptitude that so often surrounds these people who happen to stutter when they speak. What are your thoughts on that theme this year?
Good evening. Thank you for having me on the show this evening. And it's really important to get stuttering out there in terms of that stuttering is just a difference. It's just a different way of speaking. And it's really important to include people who stutter, to give them a voice, to allow them time. Now, in the stuttering community, I've actually just returned from International Stuttering Conference. Some people are okay with stuttering and don't feel they actually need speech therapy. They just want to be accepted stuttering, and that should be accepted by everyone because everyone is different. And some people stutter, some people don't. However, at the same time, there is definitely techniques in therapy to enable those who want to have a more fluent speech to be able to reach that fluency by going to a speech therapist who specializes in stuttering.
Now, I see it said that 1% of our population stutters. That's quite a huge number. Is there a feeling then that many people who stutter feel that they need to find ways to hide it if they haven't been able to get therapy to get rid of it or to live to work with their stuttering?
Well, when we're talking about an adult who stutters or an adolescent who stutters, the listener actually hears the stutter. That's what we refer to as an overt stutter. But as one can imagine, there's a lot of embarrassment and anxiety around stuttering. And so as a result, a person may avoid speaking or substitute words or may not want to go into a speaking profession. That's why it's really important for a listener and an employer to accept a person who stutters, to give them time, to maintain eye contact, to not interrupt, because a person who stutters is exactly the same as a person who doesn't stutter. The only difference is their fluency or disfluency. So, and there's 1% of the population across all nationalities, cultures, religion. I mean, the president of America stutters, Joe Biden. So, it's been Winston Churchill, Marilyn Monroe, or some of the famous people who stutter. There's self-help groups internationally and nationally. Speak Easy is a self-help group here in South Africa. And there's such a vast community, and it's important just to allow people who stutter to have a voice, to give them a voice, to have patience, and to just accept people who stutter for who they are.
Now, I think especially of children who stutter. Now, there are many people who may be watching right now who perhaps can't afford a speech therapist for their child to speak to or to work with, to try and learn to live with their stutter or to try and get rid of it. What are some of the other options that people can look up to try and deal with their stutter or for their children who stutter?
Well, obviously there's private therapy, which is obviously expensive, but at the universities, they offer, like Wits, I know, they offer therapy for minimal cost, or at the hospitals as well. And just recently, the International World Stutter signed a declaration to the right of stuttering, which is about just putting stuttering out there. And it's important that people aren't ashamed of stuttering, because stuttering can come with a lot of shame, especially if people don't know how to react about stuttering. Some adults laugh. Teasing as children is really, sometimes is really rife at schools. So it's important to just give that acceptance, acknowledgement, and just support for those people who stutter. And it's never too young. It's never too old to get help for people who stutter. Every child goes through a period of normal disfluency between the ages of 2 to 5 years old. Some children don't outgrow it and they become a person who stutters. And sometimes it's a very tough journey. And there is help out there. And it's important that people know this and that They are supportive because there's a stuttering world. There's speech therapists who specialize in it. There's a stuttering community where self-help groups, which are free of charge, Speak Easy is one of them, and there's no cost to partake in that either.
I'm interested to hear thoughts on how the mainstream media treats or deals with people who stutter, because I think immediately of very well-known South Africans, the world-famous Springbok Sevens player Cecil Africa, he had a stutter, and the golfer Christian Besaidenout, who I think he started a stuttering foundation of his own. I think he started stuttering after ingesting rat poison, I think I read somewhere. And I saw a beautiful video that went viral not so long ago where he met a little boy who stutters at one of the big tournaments he was at. I think it was in the United States. And he met the little boy, and the little boy had an opportunity to stand up in a press conference and to ask him a question. And this reaction that this boy got in the applause from people.
What they do, so if they do stutter like I'm stuttering at the moment, that's okay, because it doesn't take away from them. Sometimes it actually adds to them. I mean, there's also a clip of Joe Biden speaking to a child who stutters, which has also gone viral, very similar to the golfer as well, because it's about giving people who stutter a voice and allowing them time to finish and exposing them, and it's okay to stutter.
Now, people
that's really important.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I do want to give you an opportunity for people watching right now. Like you said, it's never too old to get help if you've been stuttering your entire life.
Absolutely,
or you've got a child that you feel has just started speaking and you feel they might have a stutter and they just want to find out more. Where can people find more information?
There's a website, speakeasy.org.za. That's SPEAK. EASY, speakeasy.org.za, and there's information on there just about it. And they can also email me on Dina.Lilian, Lilian, @gmail.com. And I can refer them to universities or around them, or, to the closest speech therapist there. And just to know that there is help out there, there's self-help groups, there's people who stutter, and it's okay just to be you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Dina Lilian is a speech therapist, and as you heard there, if you want more information, speakeasy.org.za is the website. It's a self-help group, I'm told, or you can email dina.lilian@gmail.com.